The Lunar New Year is upon us, and with it comes some brand new cars coming to Horizon 5. We've already got a couple of leaked images of a couple of brand new Chinese cars. We've got a couple of MGs, and then we have the brand new Lynk & Co. 05 Plus. I'm looking forward to driving that since, as most of you know, I do love the Lynk & Co. 03 Plus that we have in the game. But anyway, that is not what we're all going to be talking about today. In this video, I thought I could go over some of my most requested Chinese or just / Asian cars, really, that I want to come into Horizon 5. And also in this video, I'm going to be talking about some possible locations for Forza Horizon 6. That is, if Horizon 6 is ever going to be a thing. Before we do that, I'm going to go over my sort of like cars that I want to have, or Chinese cars, or just Asian cars, really, in Horizon 5. The Lunar New Year as a whole, it's not just about China. It's also about Japan, it's also about Korea. It's basically all of the Asian countries, as far as I can tell, that, you know, celebrate the Lunar New Year. And the problem is that the developers, Turn 10, they seem to think that it's mostly just, it mostly is like a Chinese thing, which is fine, but you know, it really is not the only country that celebrates the Lunar New Year. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's what the Lunar New Year is all about. It's just basically the, you know, Asian country's New Year. Now, I know a lot of you guys will also know that there are quite a few Chinese cars in the game. We've got the superior Neo, for example, the Neo EP9. I've said for the longest time now that that is basically the new Volkswagen IDR for Forza Horizon 5, because back in Horizon 4, we had the Volkswagen IDR, which was undoubtedly the most insane handling car in the game. It just was. Now, that title could belong to the Bad for the Blade Hot Wheels car in this game, but in terms of, like, you know, real-life cars, for instance, the Neo does, you know, it does fit the title perfectly. Along with the Neo, there's also a couple of other cars like the Xpeng, which is literally just a Chinese Tesla Model S. We've also got a couple of MGs. We've got the Lynk & Co.'s that I brought up before. Now, I understand there's a bit of controversy about them because some people like them, some people don't. I am one of those people that I don't have anything against them. They look cool, and they're actually made by a Swedish company. And it's easy to tell because, well, most of them look like Volvos. But I wanted to kind of touch on some of my, you know, personal favorite Chinese cars. Not just Chinese cars, really. Just Asian cars in general. It's mostly, this is the problem. I'm getting sidetracked just for China stuff, and that's not the point for the Lunar New Year. Lunar New Year is all about, like, you know, Japan and Korea and China and all that. So it's not just about China. So in terms of, like, what are my favorite Asian cars that I want to have in Horizon 5, I'm going to start it off with the Aspark Owl. This is... I forgot what there is to know about this thing. It has been a while since I looked at the specs of this thing, but it is pretty much like a track-focused hypercar. It's not road legal, I don't think, but it's also the only car in existence that's called an Owl, which is kind of funny, but also kind of weird. I don't know if it's electric or not, or if it has an engine. The fact that we haven't gotten it yet, I just feel like it would be a good addition to have in an update such as this. And we're also getting a car pack for the Lunar New Year, so, I mean, who knows? They may end up adding it to the car pack. But moving on, this one may trip some of you guys up. This is a car that I'm pretty sure no one, if you're under 13 and you're watching this video, you will have no idea what this car is, because this car is called the Mitsuoka Orochi. This is literally one of the slowest supercars in the world. I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese. I forgot which it is, but it's literally one of the slowest, I think supercars ever. It has a V6 that only has 250 horsepower. It literally just looks like a Japanese or just an Asian Mercedes. The biggest downside of it, it costs $130,000 or yen. I don't know what yen is, but I don't know how many yen are in a dollar. But either way, it still looks good. I'd still like to see it in a Forza game. It's a really old car, so if you haven't heard of it, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. But yeah, it looks cool, but I'd still like to see that thing in the game. The next car that I want to talk about is a Chinese car called the Honky L9 or L something or other. It's the car that Jeremy Clarkson test drove on the Grand Tour. It was basically a Chinese Rolls Royce. I don't know if it was a V12 or a W12, but it was a really silent car, and it looks, well, it looks amazing looking. I mean, it looks old, but it's brand new. It has the shape of like an old Thunderbird from like the 60s or like the 50s or 60s, and it looks amazing. I'm not that big on cars that look like this, but it looks good. I also want to see the brand new WRX in this game. I don't know what generation name it's called, like what kind of eye name it's called. Like we have the Raptor Eye, we have the Stink Eye, Bug Eye, but we don't have a name, I don't think, for this new one. If there is, I don't know the name of it. They no longer make the STI, so it's probably gonna have to be like the GT version, I think is what it is. But either way, I'd still love to see that car in this game. This is mostly just to win favors with anyone who drives a Toyota Corolla, but I would also really like to see the brand new Toyota Corolla GR in this game. We've kind of already got it, and if I go over to Formula Drift and right down here, actually right here, you know, that is the new generation Corolla, and it is actually a really cool car. It has a 3-cylinder, I think, in real life, and it has like 300 horsepower or something like that. It's like it has a really tiny engine, but it has a lot of horsepower from it. It's a neat little car, and that's something that I don't feel like we have enough of in this game. We don't have normal cars. We've got that Silverado that we got a few months back in that, you know, in an American car pack, but that's still, you know, like a high-performance pickup truck, pretty much. And it's not really normal. You don't see so many Hellcats driving on the streets because, well, they're expensive. They're performance cars. And with that Toyota, you know, that's not a performance car. I mean, yes, it says GR, but it's a Corolla. Even the high-performance trim is still very affordable. So I would love to see, you know, that little Corolla in this game. And definitely not a 2007 Corolla. This was already on the leaked car list, but there is an image of a Subaru Crosstrek, not the one I have. It's, you know, it's like a desert racer. I think that's actually what it's called. It's called the Subaru Crosstrek Desert Racer or something like that. It competed in the Baja 500 or Baja 1000. I don't know what, but it was a Baja racer, so it's, you know, got beefy suspension and chunky tires. So even though that's, you know, technically on the league car list. Actually, no, it is on the league car list. I'd still love to see that in, I don't know if it's going to be in this update, since it was driven in America, so it's not technically fully Japanese, but, I mean, it says Subaru on it, so, I mean, that alone puts it, you know, in the, I guess, category of, you know, this update, this conversation. But I guess we'll find out tomorrow whether or not it will be in the update next month. Moving on to the Korean cars, I would so love to see the Hyundai Envision 74 in this game. That's that really cool hydrogen-powered... It looks like it's something from the 80s, which it looks like it would be. But it's a completely modern... I think it's... Yeah, it's hydrogen-powered, so it would basically be electric. But it's a really cool-looking track car made by Hyundai, which is just amazing because Hyundai, the Koreans... as a whole, have just really stepped up their car designing in the past few years. Like, we've gotten stuff as good as the Kia Stinger. Like, that's, like, you know, we all love the Kia Stinger. It's the only cool car they make. Hyundai also has just been making some really cool cars recently. They also make a type of car called the Ioniq 6, which is basically, it looks like a Korean Porsche. At the back, it has, like, this little ducktail looking thing, and, you know, all 911s have, like, they have a sloped rear end. That's exactly what the Ioniq 6 has. It has the exact same design as the Porsche 911. And even the front looks Porsche-like. I mean, it has like those bug-looking headlights, and it literally just looks like Hyundai copied Porsche, which good for them because they made a baller-looking car. It looks sick. I'm pretty sure it's horrible to drive in real life, but it still looks good. They also make the Ioniq 5, which is once again like a retro-looking hatchback. I've seen quite a few of them actually in real life, and they look good, but actually they're quite huge. I was sidling up next to one in my Crosstrek, and I could not believe how big it was. Like, I thought it was small looking at first, but it's huge. But either way, it's a retro-looking car, just like the Envision 74, but I would so love to see that car in this game. Okay, now I'm sure a lot of you guys will like this one. Back in the day, Infiniti made a car called the G35. Now that wasn't really a nice looking car. It certainly was not, a fast one. In fact, it was quite horrible actually. But what's really sick about it is that a few years ago, there was a company called Vader, and they made basically a body kit for it that completely changed the look of the car. It was so popular, in fact, that they actually featured the car with a body kit, because it is a body kit pretty much. They featured it in one of the DC movies, so that was really cool. The Joker drove it. It just looks amazing. It looks mid-engine. If you had a Vader G35 and someone who didn't know cars came up to you and said, "Is that mid-engine?" they would be wrong, because it is still front-engine. They basically just take a G35 and just make an insane body kit for it. I mean, it completely changes the look of the car. Like, if that car didn't have the body kit available, I'll be like, no, let's just get rid of it. It's stupid. But the fact that it does have that body kit, I can just tell you right now, everyone would be all over it. Like, that would have to be, part of a car pack, which there, once again, there is a car pack coming next update. So, okay, so now we're changing the time zones, we're changing the clocks, and we're changing the subject to Forza Horizon 6. I can understand why they'd want it to be in Japan, but I'm not going to talk about Japan. This is mostly just about a possible Horizon 6 location that I just came up with last night. Last night, me and Elite were talking, it just sort of came out of nowhere, but we were talking about a possible Horizon 6 location, like, where will it be? We've already been in America. That's where Horizon 1 was. We've been to Southern Europe, which is, where Italy is, and France and all that. And then we've been to the UK, which is, where Horizon 4 is. Then we've been to Australia, Land Down Under, which is, where Horizon 3 is. Easily the best location in my opinion. And then we've been to, south of the border, which is where Horizon 5 is. I still want Horizon 6 to be somewhere in the northern hemisphere, because, I'm from the north, so obviously I'd be all like, yeah, man, come up north, it's great up here. We got a lot of shit up here. Elite actually brought this up. I wanted to give him a shout out and a credit to this, actually. Alaska, which is the largest state in the US, it is just up above America to the left of Canada, and it is 1/3 the size of the entire continental US. It is massive. And I had an idea. Now, before you guys jump to conclusions saying, why Alaska? Because there's almost nothing up there in Alaska. That is not true at all. Yes, there are a lot of smaller cities, but there is a lot of, diversity there in terms of, like roads and environments. So here are some examples. You got Anchorage, which is by the water. You've got Fairbanks, which is by the water. In the middle of it, you've got so many open roads there. And you've got a bunch of, off-roading environments, but you've got a lot of long roads, a lot of mountains. But here is what was the kicker for me. Because in the past, each Horizon game has introduced something new. Whether it's a car type, or a weather system, or something else. Then it got me thinking that, hang on, Alaska has way different light cycles and time cycles, because in the summer you have what's called twilight hours, which means basically even when it gets to midnight, it is still light out. And that may not be new, that may not be kind of a smart idea, but here's my thinking. In terms of a festival playlist, for 2 weeks out of the festival playlist, even when it's at night, you would still be driving in daylight. I mean, even when it's midnight, it's still daylight out. And then for the other 2 weeks, it gets pitch black. It just gets pitch black. There's also snow. There's also... Oh, that's another thing, too, is that snow... we got sick and tired of the snow in Horizon 4. I remember it. I used to hate making videos on Horizon 4 because of the snow. I used to hate it. But, we've all kind of grown up. We're all sort of different now. And I wouldn't mind having snow back. I mean, you can go up to the mountain in Horizon 5 and, there's a bunch of snow up there, but, I wouldn't mind having a lot of snow. Then you also have the wildlife. Now, this is something that is also part of Horizon culture in terms of Forza Horizon, because in every Horizon game, there's also a local animal culture there. I don't think we had this thing in Horizon 1 or Horizon 2, but we did have it in Horizon 3. In Horizon 3, we had kangaroos, crocodiles, dingoes, parrots. And in Horizon 4, we had deer, and we had foxes, I believe. We had rabbits, and dogs, I think. And then in Horizon 5, obviously, we have birds, we have flamingos, we've got swans, we've got parrots once again. And I don't think you can see them, but in the jungle, you can hear monkey chatter, I believe. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. And obviously, up in Alaska, there are huge animals in Alaska. You've got bears, you've got moose. This is sort of an unpopular opinion. I know a lot of you will hate me for saying this, but there's Bigfoot up there. But there's also just, like, I mean, Alaska is huge. It's easily, if they ever make it a reality, it's easily going to be much larger than Horizon 5, because Horizon 5 is the largest map we've ever had. And if they ever introduce Alaska as, you know, the next location for a Horizon game, it will easily be the largest location we'll ever have. Because I can only assume that this will be the last Horizon game, since, you know, we've got Forza Motorsport. It's not Forza Motorsport 8, it's just Forza Motorsport. So there's a good chance that the next Horizon game will just be called Forza Horizon. Not Forza Horizon 6, not, you know, Forza Horizon Special Edition. It'll probably just be Forza Horizon. So there you have it, guys. That was my very long video about my cars that I want from Asia over in Horizon 5, and the Lunar New Year, and the idea of Horizon 6 possibly being in Alaska. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to hang out with me on Xbox, I'll leave my gamer tag in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for more, and peace out.